And I want to let you know that You Called is brought to you by Playground, your premier gaming destination located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. 1-888-585-SICK is the number. 1-888-585-7425.
You Called. Presented by Playground.
Andrew, good evening. Andrew? We're going to do this all over again now. Is Andrew there?
No, it's Alan.
Oh, it's Alan. This is Agnello's fault at Master Control. He believes Andrew is Alan. He believes Alan is Andrew. I don't understand what's going on anymore. If this guy didn't own the company, I would have fired him by now. What's going on, Alan?
Well, everybody deserves a second chance, Tony.
Yeah, that's right. He's on his fifth, though. Now, this is Alan as in your first name. It's not Jake Allen.
No, it's not.
It's Alan, your first name. Okay, Alan, what's going on? What's on your mind?
I listened to you and Andrew there earlier about who you would trade and who you wouldn't. I agree with you. You got to keep Anderson around because I think when all the dust settles, he'll be with Caulfield and Suzuki. But that whole third line, Gallagher, I'm sure we have to remember Bergevin said, "You want loyalty? Get a dog." Well, Gallagher's his dog. So that whole third line, I think, should be traded eventually. Duran included, and
I don't know why we're talking about that now, though, because it's not like they're going to get traded this week or next week. You know what I mean? It's not happening.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I even look at Jake Allen being shipped out of the trade deadline if the deal is right. I mean,
I said
around when we're in the playoffs.
I said at the beginning of the season, I love Jake Allen, but I believe he is counterproductive for a rebuild because he will steal points. A lot of people got back to me and said, no, he won't. Well, there's some analytics that have been done over the last week. There was something I read a couple of days ago that actually said that Jake Allen is actually stealing some points for the Canadians and is counterproductive for the rebuild. So I think my opinion was right on that one. Thank you for a change. Some will say it doesn't happen often.
You're right.
Yeah.
And one last note before I let you go.
Of course.
Dr. Andrew is I agree with you about Logan Mayu. Being up in Sudbury, I've seen this kid play, and what better place for him to play than with the London Knights with the Hunters? With the Hunters.
Well, of course,
he will develop. He will develop a lot quicker than other players would develop.
Yeah, of course, you're 100% right about that. Thanks so much for calling me. I appreciate. Where did you call me from exactly, Alan?
Sudbury.
Oh, you're in. Oh, yeah, that's right. You said you went to watch him in Sudbury, so you're in Sudbury right now. Big Montreal Canadiens fan.
Absolutely.
How are you a Montreal Canadiens fan and a fan of Mark of Dale Hunter at the same time? Mark played for the Canadiens, but Dale was a Quebec Nordique.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dale Hunter played with the Sudbury Wolves.
Yeah, no, I got you. Thanks so much for calling, man. I appreciate it. I'm not so sure that Agnello actually wrote Allen, by the way. I think when he wrote Andrew is because Andrew Zadarnowski was going to join us earlier on. All right. Do we have another call, Agnello? I don't even know. If you love the podcast, comment SICK, SICK. And if you're going to listen on Google Podcast or Apple Podcast or on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. If you like what you're hearing, we'd really appreciate it. When I worked in radio, you had a kind of a monitor that told you who was on line 1 and who was on line 2 and who was on line 3 and who was on line 4. In the podcast world, it works a little bit differently. You're on a streaming website and you kind of have like a private chat on the side, and that's the difference. And just as I said that on the private chat, it tells me that we're going to Jerry on the West Island.
Okay.
Jerry.
How are you, Tony?
Very good. I've never known the answer to this, but would it be on the West Island or in the West Island?
No, in the West Island, specifically in Kirkland, if you want details.
So in the West Island makes more sense than on the West Island. Okay. In the West Island in Kirkland. You're not too far from Agnello and Sammy, actually.
I don't know where they are.
Well, they live next to Beneville Park. I can't give the exact address, but I'm sure you know where that is, right?
I'm about 2 blocks from there.
Is that right,
And,
eh?
2 blocks from there is the 18th draft pick of the Canadians in 2018, was it? Louis Leblanc.
Well, Louis LeBlanc was in
that's-
2018. If memory serves me well, he was 2009.
Okay, you're right. 2009, of course.
Well, I didn't even look that up, but if my memory serves me well, I believe it's 2009.
Well, I'm 67, so there you go. But I'd just like to make a few points and like to hear your comments on them. I look at the Ottawa Senators. I really like the Ottawa Senators a lot. I think they consistently outpick the Canadians in the draft.
How so?
They got 5 snipers on their team.
Okay.
And even getting a couple old players, or not old players, but veterans, they're going to do very well, I predict. Whereas we have 1 sniper, and I think you know who that is. Now, we also have a really good centerman and maybe a few other good players up front, but a lot of guys should have been gone. And
okay, so tell me. Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Tell me who are the players that you like.
Well, obviously, Cole Caulfield and
No. Tell me the Ottawa prospects, the Ottawa's young players that you like. Talk to me about them if you can. Who are they?
Oh, you want me to do it off the top of my head? Okay.
Yeah. So who are they?
Okay. Well,
it shouldn't be very hard. I mean, I know the answer. I can help you out if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about Tim Stützle and you're talking about Jake Anderson to start with a couple, correct?
Right.
All right. They were drafted the year Caden Gooley was drafted, correct? Just say correct.
Correct.
Perfect.
I know that.
Ottawa drafted Stützle 3rd overall, correct? Say correct.
Right.
And Sanderson 5th overall, correct? Say correct.
Right. And I like Batherson.
Perfect. And then, hold on a second. Let's finish with this draft if we can. Don't go too fast here. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Okay.
The draft.
So hold on a second.
Brady Tkachuk was a huge mistake, obviously.
Yes, but hold on. But before we get to that, let's just go back to where we were. Okay. Stützle and Sanderson, that draft that they were drafted 3rd and 5th, the Canadians drafted Gooley at 16th. Okay. There is nothing, very unfortunately, nothing the Montreal Canadiens can do in regards to that draft. Okay? Nothing.
I agree.
Now, there's another draft that Ottawa drafted Shane Pinto. You remember that?
I don't remember the exact.
Well, he's a good prospect. Shane Pinto was drafted with the 1st pick of the 2nd round. He was drafted 32nd. But the Montreal Canadiens' 1st pick that year, the Canadians drafted 15th, and they drafted Cole Caulfield. So there's nothing the Canadians can do about not getting Pinto in that regard, and that's pretty good. Correct? You're with me now, right?
You're right. I'm not going to go through it like draft by draft.
So now, the Ottawa Senators drafted Brady Tkachuk, that I agree with you, the Canadians should have drafted instead of Kotkaniemi. And another great pick in 2017 was Drake Batherson, who's a 4th round pick. You're right about that.
You got Josh Norris also. You've got just a lot of players there now. And I'm not specifically all drafts, but I mean, Claude Giroux, Alex DeBrincat, those are great guys to bring in. I just think they're going to do really a lot better. Now, I'm not blaming the new management. The new management is professional.
Yeah.
And the old management was amateur hour.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you know how they got Josh Norris, right?
I could try to remember, but...
well, I could tell you that they did not draft Josh Norris. If memory serves me well, he went over in the trade for Erik Karlsson. And Mositumo.
Right. I think
Mositu.
That's correct.
So, if you're going to tell me they do a better job than drafting...
a second to remember them. Yeah.
But we have to have the right information, Jerry. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not even sure it was the Karlsson trade, but I'm 99% sure it was the Karlsson trade. Sammy and Yellow, if you can bring it up, I'm pretty sure that Josh Norris was drafted by the San Jose Sharks, and he came over in the Erik Karlsson trade. If you can write in our private chat, that would be absolutely fantastic. All right. Anything else?
Right. No, I was just saying, generally, they put together a really good team.
Well, I hope so. They've been in the basement for like 8,000 years, Jerry.
No, it took time. You're right. And our management's only in place a short time, and they've got a great track record where they were. our president or whatever he is. He's been an outstanding manager with the Rangers.
Yeah.
And I really like our general manager too. They're very sharp people, it seems.
Yeah.
And and we're missing a couple of really good defensemen.
All
which
right.
I think would really help.
You've been heard, and Sammy tells me he definitely came over in the Erik Karlsson draft. Jerry, you sound like a good guy to me. You call again and have faith in your Montreal Canadiens. We'll talk.
All
to
right,
you soon.
Tony. You take care of yourself.
All right, thank you. You even told me to take care. What a nice guy. All right, okay. Back to the phone lines we go. Where are we going exactly here? Or bring up a comment. Let's go. I'll wait, Parla. Let's move here. Who are we going to? Tony's patience with this Senators fan is sick, says MKRCIVOJ. I don't know what that's supposed to. Others coming in. Montreal bad at developing players anyway. Yes, that's true. We got Nick Suzuki for Craig Rivet. Yes, because Craig Rivet was traded to the San Jose Sharks for Josh Georges and a draft pick, and the draft pick ended up being Max Pacioretty that the Canadians drafted 22nd overall back in 2007, and then eventually ended up trading Max Pacioretty to the Vegas Golden Knights for Nick Suzuki and Thomas Tatar. Phil is in Quebec City. Phil, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Tony?
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you. Thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
That was a good loss tonight.
It was a good loss. Explain that one to me. Meaning what exactly?
Well, well, I'm rooting for the team to win some, but at the same time, we want to draft a good draft pick. So if we lose, it ain't that bad, and it's young guys. Props to them.
So you're all for the rebuild, basically. You're all for the rebuild.
Yeah, I'm for the rebuild.
Yeah, but I'm for the rebuild too.
Tonight.
Phil, I'm for the rebuild. Phil, if I can, I'm for the rebuild too, but I want to see exciting games in the meantime. Tonight was not overly exciting. I mean, I felt like Fred Flintstone when the doctor told him that he couldn't fall asleep, he had to keep his eyes open, and Wilma gave him some toothpicks to put in his eyes, and he had to repeat all night before he fell asleep. He had to repeat. She kept on saying, Fred, the doctor says, doctor, doctor, doctor. The doctor says, doctor, 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 that if you close your eyes, if I close my eyes, you're a goner. I'm a goner. And then at one point, I was, I'm a goner. He started drinking the cactus juice and all that stuff. Remember that? Yeah. I remember these things.
Jake Allen was amazing tonight.
Jake Allen was good in goal, and so was Marc-Andre Fleury. Both goaltenders were good. Both goaltenders were good.
Doing points for us, even if they didn't get any point tonight. I mean,
yeah. What do you think is going to happen on the road? What do you think is going to happen on the road trip?
Probably going to get a couple points. They're competitive, so I don't see them giving any slack and just letting teams run them over. They're gonna give them a good game. Any
changes you make with the lines?
I don't know. I want to see the young guys play more. If I could, like, I'd bring. I'd keep the young guys in, even if some older guys come back. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
Byron,
the young guys?
Anybody?
Byron's here right now. Who are you talking about?
I want to keep Jacka in the team. I want to keep Harris.
Yeah,
Harris is doing really good.
Well, Harris is not coming out of the lineup. I think that's safe to say. Appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much. Some comments, some questions. Let's go here. Man, it's hot in this room. Either that or I'm going to just pass out for whatever reason. Tony, you can't orchestrate a tank when you're trying to build a winning philosophy. I didn't say, John DiRimo, thank you, to orchestrate a tank. If your team is missing talent, organically, you're not going to win a lot of games. And at that point, you're going to finish near the bottom of the standings. And so you don't have to orchestrate a tank. I've never talked about the players orchestrating a tank. They don't do that. I've never talked about the coaches orchestrating a tank. They don't do that. But if general managers, or if the general manager, and they have a two double-headed monster here, basically has a team that doesn't have a lot of talent, they're not going to win a lot of games. Or if he takes some of that talent and he ends up trading it elsewhere in return for some future assets, well, then they're going to end up losing more often than not. And it's going to happen organically. Thank you. Other comments? Why don't we go to the phone lines? Dale in Toronto. Dale, what's going on with the Leafs?
Tony, what's up, brother?
Dubas fired yet?
No, not quite yet, but
Sheldon Keefe fired yet?
Could be happening any day. I just thought I'd call in, man. I'm listening to your post game show here, really enjoying it, and I just thought I'd call in and just give my thoughts on what's going on with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, look, before you go crazy here, I just want to say, like, let me just say this, Tony. Do you want the Montreal Canadiens to realistically finish somewhere? Let's say they're making a playoff push, where they maybe just are scratching to get in, or
No. No, I want them to finish in the bottom three.
So there's that. This is my whole point of calling in here, Tony, is that, like, I've been watching the Habs games, and they look like a good young team to me, but not like a team that is ready to go right now. But the worst place you can possibly be is scratching to make the playoffs, or just miss the playoffs. So
Correct.
I think Habs fans need to just cool their jets here and realize that young team, a really good looking up and coming team. And the best thing for the Montreal Canadiens, in my personal opinion, Tony, is that they don't finish like just scratching to make the playoffs or just outside. Let's go a little lower than that, get another top pick, and then let's keep building this thing for the Habs for years to come. Does that not make the most sense?
In my opinion, it's going to be, or it should be, a year of more suffering in the short term, where I believe they have to play the heck out of some of those veteran players who are on the final year of their contract, so that they can increase their value, so they can actually trade them away and get something for them. And number two, 100%. If they play those veterans who just aren't bringing it all that much anymore, more ice time they get, more chance they have of probably losing games. But the problem is, and Andre Tourigny told us last week when he joined us here on the Sick Podcast, the head coach of the Arizona Coyotes, a coach is not going to play players to bring up their value, or he's not going to play players if he doesn't think they can help his team win hockey games. He's going to play who he thinks will help his team win hockey games. That's what Andre Tourigny said, and he's a lot smarter than I am. Thanks, Dale, for calling, and say hello to everyone in Toronto.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yes. All right. There you have it. Dale in Toronto. Some questions. And Yellow, bring up some questions here. Hoffman on the ice with a minute left after showing nothing for a season plus. Proof Marty has been told to tank. I don't think Marty's been told to tank. I think he thinks that Mike Hoffman is one of the best shots on the team. And if they're going to pull the goalie and they're going to be a man up, and that Hoffman can help him score goals, even though he hasn't scored that many of them, but he did score one last game. Allen isn't going anywhere, says a texter. Well, it certainly looks that way. The day Suzuki is our number 2 center and Gallagher is consistently on the third line is the day we are a competitor again. This coming in from Sport La Tornade. That must be Chris La Tornade, I would think. You can call us at 1-888-585-SICK. I think I recognize the name. I'm sure I'm going to recognize the voice. Luigi and a Hunsick. Is this Luigi D'Amore?
How you doing, Tony?
Luigi, have you called the Sick Podcast before?
Absolutely. I think it was about a week ago, Tony.
Oh, my God. The call must have been so good. I almost forgot. Look at that, Luigi. Luigi, what's going on, Luigi? I'm teasing you. You know I love you. I remember when you called, and I told everyone you're one of my best friends. Go ahead, Luigi.
And you're absolutely right. And you're a good friend as well, Tony. You're a fantastic person. I fell asleep during the game. I woke up, especially for you. I wanted to be up for the podcast, and I fell asleep in the second period. The game
maybe,
was so boring.
Luigi, maybe it wasn't the Canadians. Maybe it was too many carbohydrates.
No, I think it was the game, Tony. The game made me fall. As soon as they went on the power play and they were passing the puck back to each other, back and forth, I said, this is it. And it was 2-1. There was nothing entertaining about tonight's game, Tony. I thought Jake Allen was superb in nets, as usual.
Yeah.
And I believe in the rebuild. And, it's unfortunate that, like you said, Jake Allen's going to steal a lot of points if he keeps on playing the way he is. And, Harris tonight was impressive for me. Harris
was good. Harris was good. Yeah.
He played, I think, over 25 minutes I saw towards the end. And I was impressed by Harris tonight. That's one guy that stood out in my mind. Guys like Hoffman, Tony, they're done. These guys are done, Hoffman. But who's going to take them? That's what it is.
Well, hopefully someone will take them at the trade deadline, and that's the way it's going to go down. Hopefully that happens, Louis.
And they have to continue playing the way they are, Tony. It doesn't matter right now. You know, I really believe in the rebuild. They're going to have a hard time going on this road trip. They may catch Buffalo in the first game back home because they're coming off the West Coast.
Yeah.
But from St. Louis, big team, Minnesota, I don't see them doing well in this. I see them, if they're lucky, they'll get one win out of 4.
Adamo Sacchetti says, eat tofu like George Larac and you're not going to fall asleep on the couch.
But what was so funny is that we were just closing watching this game, and I didn't want to switch. By the way, the Detroit game, Tony, you're not at fault because Huso was injured in the first minute of play. So he came out of the game, and they put the backup, and it didn't turn out to be very good. They lost.
No, they got up to a lead with Dylan Larkin scored the first goal, but the second the Devils started shooting, they started scoring goals, and they scored a lot of them. Luigi, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and it won't even be on the Sick Podcast. I'll give you a call from my cell phone tomorrow morning, the way you and I usually touch base in the mornings, a couple of mornings per week.
Pleasure. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, Tony. Keep up the great work. And
thank you, Luigi.
Okay.
A long time listener of the radio station where I used to work at, had the chance to meet him. I think somewhere in the stands at a soccer game and stuff like that. Became so close. He actually came out to watch my son's games many times. This year, he watched several of them, and we touched base. And he's a great man. He's one of my best friends in the whole world, and he was a listener before he became a friend. And so that's the beauty of talking sports. I'm Marinaro, and that clip you just watched is from our most recent episode of the Sick Podcast. Once again, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free, and you'll be notified when we go live. I'm Marinaro. Tell your friends about it. This podcast, like me, is pretty sick.